Oh, it's so annoying. I might be live now. Hi, guys. I'm waiting on technology to figure it out. Really? I can't chat there? All right, fine. Whatever. It's fine. What's up, everybody? AKA Dylan and Kurt. All right, here. I'm going to fix the chat by doing it in 17 different windows. There we go. How's it going? Say hi if you can hear me. Hi. All right, good. Okay, cool. So we're on. Hey, for those of you that are regulars, both of you, do you notice the new thing is smaller? It's not like this anymore. It's down. I fixed it. I put it down here. Look at the big brain on me. I figured something out. All right, cool. So the video is working. The thing is not as big. I do have to like hold my arm up like this though, so that you can see the shovel, or it kind of gets blurred out. But you know, whatever. Cool. All right. Well, welcome. Hi, Kurt. Hi, Dylan. Good. I'm glad you guys can hear. You can see. It's not a giant orange triangle in the corner anymore. I mean, there's these things up here now, but you know, you can only do what you can do. Okay, good, Kurt. It's for both of you guys. I'm glad that you're happy. All right. So let's dive in to the show tonight. Welcome. Oh God, my wife's here. Okay. Now, that changes the whole thing, guys. We have to be very nice, or this could be the last show. So, since the wife is here, we're all in trouble. Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate it. You're the man. All right, so on my best behavior now because my wife is there. I just said hi. I said that you're here. Hi. Oh, God. How do what? I'm so confused. Hi, Keith. All right. Well, since you guys are all chatting, I'm going to let you chat, and I'm going to catch up with you here in a second, and I'm going to do my normal little spiel thing for everybody that is new to watching this, that's watching this for the first time, because, again, it's really weird for somebody that's never seen one of these before to come in and just see me randomly talking to my screen. So here we go. So welcome. My name is Fletch, and this is All Things Overlanding. We've switched this. It used to be every week I would do live chats. Now I'm switching it to every 2 weeks because honestly every week is exhausting, right? And like it's probably exhausting for you guys that come all the time too. So yeah, anyways, so welcome. If you don't already follow me, I am on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on all major podcast channels. So just search All Things Overlanding wherever you would like to join the conversation, and I'd love to chat with you. And before we go too deep, I would like to touch on my partners, if you will. So I've teamed up with a few sort of small companies that I really love. And I say that not like it's a bad thing, like just meaning that it's not like a giant corporation, because that doesn't really fit me, right? Like I don't have any need or desire to work with like huge, massive companies. I want to work with like cool, smaller companies that, you know, maybe you haven't heard of before, but they have great products and they're just awesome. So I'm gonna be all fancy here and technological, and I'm gonna share my screen because I'm a real person now that knows how to work technology. But so the first one that I wanted to talk about was Last US Bags. They're awesome. As you can see here, they've got just a ton of super cool, like overlanding specific bags for tools, for just about anything that you could imagine. This Wax a Million bag is super cool for like wrenches and stuff. Where's my favorite bag? I think I might already have gone past it. There's one. Where's the Happy Camper? Am I missing it? Here, Happy Camper. That thing is amazing. So I have a Happy Camper, and it is sweet. I also have a Half Caddy. That thing is awesome too. And then I have a Canteen Nutsack, which everyone gets a kick out of. But it is a really cool little bag for holding miscellaneous things like tools, kitchenware, things like that. But so Last US Bags is one of the sponsors. There's a link down in the description below. Check them out. They are awesome. Dylan, all right, chill. More Overland Expo is also another partner of mine. So again, these guys are awesome. It's going to be in February of next year, so I'm super excited about that. I'm planning to go to it. So if you're anywhere near the Midwest, you should definitely go check it out. because it's going to be sweet. So February 13th and 14th, they don't even have tickets available yet. But again, if you go to the description below and click through that, it will take you to their Facebook page where you can pre-register. That way you'll get notified when they do start selling tickets. And then third, Northology Adventures. Cindy Pope is her name. She's awesome. She was actually on the show last Sunday. I interviewed her again about the Northology stuff. But so she puts out this awesome free monthly magazine, and I've actually been in the last 2 episodes, so if you like me for some reason, then you can definitely go there and check that out and see my articles that I wrote. But there's a ton of other people that are way more talented than me that wrote in these magazines as well. And again, it's totally free, so you should definitely check that out. And she also does events, which are really cool too, so like custom guided overlanding trips. So that's that. So let's pull this back off, and then let's talk about something else. So that was kind of the big thing with the partners, but I do have a very special announcement. I've finally maxed out. I've gone for 4. I wanted to work with 4 small, unique companies, and I have finally found the 4th one. So I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Let me catch up, though, because you guys are going crazy in the chat. So everyone is saying hi to my wife. She may have bounced off. She's probably terrified, and she's gone now. So Yak Fish and Dave's is very weird, but I love your channel. Thank you. It is strange. I know these are always strange, but they're a lot of fun, I think. I have a good time with them, and I appreciate you guys coming by. ZG Peterson, did you ever get the Northology link to work for you when you got better internet? I'm curious if it worked, because it worked for me, and I think it's okay, but anyways. Dylan says make it every week again. We'll see, man. There's a lot going on. I'm telling you. I'm kind of working 2 jobs right now, and then I'm doing the overlanding thing. So like, I just don't want to let anything drop, but we'll see how the 2-week things works. If it gets, to be too far in between, maybe we'll make some changes. Ashley, hi. So then Kurt says last US bag is quality gear. Love it. Yeah. I've got, it's under a bunch of stuff, but I've got my Wax a Million bag over here, and it is awesome stuff. If you're looking for something that is American made and is just awesome quality, you should definitely check them out. Kurt says more is sold out. I think what you're talking about, Kurt, is that I think that they're almost out of room for vendors. So I don't think they have a cap on how many people can come. So they haven't even opened up ticket sales yet. So I think that's what you saw, because I saw that today and yesterday too. I think that they're almost out of vendor space. Like, they're almost maxed out. And the cool thing is they're twice as big as they were last year. So last year they were like, I think Chris told me it was like 36,000 square feet. And this year it's like 80,000 square feet. So it's twice as big, and they're already sold out of room for vendors, which is awesome. Michelle says, we have a lot of girls in this chat tonight. My wife is with her friends, our friends, and I think they're drunk. So this will be really interesting and fun. Michelle says she likes tools and nut sacks. Think I'm going to like your channel? Probably. If you don't, then there's something wrong with you. Dylan, always the one that is rooting for my channel. Go click the like button, or Dylan will get mad at you. He literally goes in the comments and like yells at people. So you won't take any more sponsors? No, so I'm not even going to call them sponsors per se, because it's not even really about money. It's more about just like mutual relationships, right? Things that will help the both of us. So again, I want to focus on specific companies, but I also don't want to like overwhelm you guys with sponsors or partner, like I don't want to just talk about that. Like, that's not my goal, right? And you guys have all sort of told me that's what you appreciate, is that the channel is legit and real, and it's like real people and real talk. So I don't want to have a 40-minute section at the beginning of the video that's talking about sponsors, right? So I've set the line in the sand, and I've said 4, folks that I talk about, 4 partners is the most that I'll do at the beginning. I mean, if there are other companies that are interested, I'm willing to put people in the description. So if there are other people that want to talk to me about that, I'd be happy to talk to you, but they won't be mentioned like verbally at the beginning of the show. They'll just be in the description. So happy to point to people though, if you're interested. It's just says, Fletch, keep up the good work. Thanks, Ashley. ZG, yes, on the podcast one, it worked. Okay, cool. Good. Glad you got through to the Northology page. It's sweet. Dylan says, come on, let's get more likes on this live. Okay, we're caught up to the chat now. So let's get started. So tonight we were going to talk about, what do you do on overlanding trips? And I made a video or 2 about this, but like, again, this is a live chat, right? So I want to talk to you guys, and I want to hear what you like to do. I'm going to touch on some of the stuff that I do. I am actually planning on going on a trip this weekend, so I've got some ideas already because I'm gearing up for it. But I do want to hear what you guys do on your trips too, right? So feel free as we go to chat that up in the message box there. But let's start with news. So this is kind of a newer thing that I've done the last 1 or 2 times, but I kind of like it because it lets us mix it up and throw in some new stuff. So I did want to touch on. So again, I'm not a Patreon fan. Like, I don't want to just have you guys randomly give me money for nothing. Like, I just think that's weird. I'm not going to gate content or like not give you guys the video because I want you to pay me for it. Like, that just seems weird to me. But I will take your money for a thing. So I wanted to talk about, there's the stickers, which a lot of you guys have, but I'm just bringing them up. So I do have these stickers, ATO stickers. They're super high quality. I think I made them at Sticker Mule. But they're super high quality. I literally have my first one on the truck, and it's been on there for like 2 years now, and it's still in great shape. So super high quality stickers. They're on the website, link below to the store. And then if you don't already, the patches are here. So if you're a real overlander and you like overlanding patches, I'm actually pretty proud of these things because it's like my own design and it's like, it came out really well. So if you want one of those, same thing. Link in the description below to the website. Check them out. They're awesome. So that's all the plugs. That's all the plugs, I promise. I did want to talk about, and I'm going to be doing a review this week, but I have some exciting news. And you guys, I think I mentioned it last time, but I got a new thing. I got a portable power generator. This Primax deal. Again, I'll put a link down below to this thing too, but this thing is sick. So I've been testing it just at home, like just charging stuff off of it, just for fun. And it's so much better than any of the other power banks that I have. It's a 300 watt hour battery. It's lithium, so you can run it all the way down and charge it back up. And it is just awesome. So I'm super excited. This weekend I'm going to take it out into the woods and test it. The only thing I haven't tested it with yet, because I don't have one, but my goal with this is to run a fridge freezer off of. And I feel like with a 300 watt hour, I should be able to at least get through the night and then recharge it the next day off of either either the solar or off of the truck, the starter battery. So either way, I think it's going to be a good addition to the solar setup. Because the solar setup, the battery that I have in the back is a 35 watt hour, which is small, right? It's a tenth of the size of this thing. So it works really great for charging small electronics, and the solar keeps it charged. But this thing is just a tank. So again, I've had my iPad plugged into it, my phone, an iPad, and a bunch of other stuff, and it like took 1/5 of the battery off overnight. Like, it's amazing. So I'm super excited to test that thing out. So let's see what everybody's saying. The patch was great and it arrived fast. Good. I'm glad you like it. Tell us more about the nut sack, says Christina. The nut, I have it. Hold on, Christina. I'll get it for you. I'll show you my nut sack. This is where everybody just bails off because it looks like it's a dead stream. So this is my nut sack, Christina. Look at this. Here's why. I haven't figured out quite why they call it that yet, but when you unzip it, it looks like this. Let me undo the Velcro here. It looks like this. So that's why I think they call it a nut sack. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it because it's pretty amazing, this nut sack. So yeah, but that is a really cool bag. Super useful to hold your tool. Dylan says, I think I should go head over to your website and get a patch and sticker. Thanks, Dylan. I think Dylan works for me. He doesn't actually, but I think he does. Will a patch stay in my yurt for a long period of time? You should just buy one and try it, Michelle. I don't know. Probably. All right, so next, I did want to talk about what's coming on the channel. So this coming Sunday, I'm actually really, really excited about this. I interviewed a couple, a husband and wife. Their Instagram is Our Journey Overland, and they're getting ready to start a YouTube channel too, but they've literally been on the road for 10 months and they have 2 kids. These people are crazy. But they were super fun. It was a really fun interview. They had some really good tips because they've literally been living the life for like 10 months. So the interview was awesome, and it drops this Sunday. So again, just wanted to mention that. Look for that on Sunday. It's going to be a lot of fun. And they did have some really great tips just because of their experience, right? So things that I hadn't even thought of, and I was like, yeah, that's great. So you should definitely check that out on Sunday. Another one. This is the one that I mentioned. I said no more plugs. This is kind of a plug, but it's kind of not. So the fourth one that I mentioned is, let me share my screen here and I'll show you, It is our buddy Chad Boyd from Overland Addict. So again, been internet friends with Chad for a while. I think his channel was kind of one of the things that kind of got me into wanting to make overlanding content, because I watched his videos and I was like, dude, this guy is awesome. He's having so much fun. He built this drawer system for the back of his Jeep. So he kind of, there he is, there's Chad. Hi, Chad. But he kind of, was doing the thing and kind of got me into it. So again, I bought a couple pieces of gear off of him. I've got a patch of his. I've got a sticker of his. I've got, I bought my Colby valve stems off of him. So he's been super helpful and always willing to help. And so, we chatted and he said, hey, I'd love to be a part of the channel too. So huge thanks to Chad as well. But that's the last one. Now we're all booked up. We're at 4 people. So I feel pretty good about that. But he is, just like he has everything overlanding. So he sells rooftop tents and grills and, all kinds of stuff. Pretty much anything you can imagine he's got. Wavy and fuel cans, Max Tracks, like all the things, right? So you should definitely go check him out. He'll be in the description as well. That's really legitimately the last plug. But this weekend, like I mentioned, I'm going camping, so I'm pretty excited. There's going to be a lot of new videos coming out of that, is my plan. I've got a lot of plans to shoot videos. I'm going to do some in-depth Xterra stuff, like suspension stuff. I'm going to talk about the Wham bumper. I'm going to make a final sort of DIY rooftop tent walk around. So I've got some big plans for this weekend. I'm going to get some good videos together, and then those will be coming out over the next couple weeks. So look for those as well. And then, as always, we have to end with what are we drinking? So what are you guys drinking? Post up in the comments and let me know. So I'm about to finish this Juicy Haze IPA from New Belgium, which is pretty fantastic. And then I'm switching to the Voodoo Ranger Experimental IPA. It only comes in like a special limited edition 12 pack. So I bought it just because I was like, I've never had this before. But I will tell you, I had one last night and it's really good. It's really good. Highly recommended. New Belgium, if you're watching, I would love to have a beer sponsor. Kurt, by the way, special shout out to Kurt, who is now actively campaigning on Instagram on breweries' pages, telling them that they should sponsor me. So thank you. Appreciate your help there. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if yelling at people on Instagram and tagging me is going to be an effective strategy, but it's the thought that counts, and I appreciate it. So let's catch up with the comments here because there's a lot of inappropriate stuff happening, I think. More talk about the nut sacks. Head over to your website and get a patch and sticker. Yeah, we did that part already. I'm thinking about buying a yurt. Yep. Okay, St. Louis Arch says he sees an elephant, and Christina says she does too. Yeah, that's what it is, I think, an elephant. Christina says, hi, Chad. I don't know. Chad, I think, was going to try and join, but I don't know if he's on here yet. But he probably will be. Ripper says, Heady Topper. What's that? Is that a beer? I'm going to Google that. What is Heady Topper? It sounds like something that I would definitely like. Heady Topper. All right, I'm looking it up. I'm finding mustard. So you're going to have to tell me what a Heady Topper is. Keith says, as usual, bourbon. Kurt says, Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze. Well, good. All right. Cheers, friend. We have the same taste. Sweet. All right. So that was a good little intro news section. Alchemist in Vermont. Dude, that sounds awesome. Oh, Alchemist beer. Got it. Cool. Too bad Vermont is so far away, and I'm sure I do not get it here. One of the most sought-after beers. Dang. It kind of sounds familiar, but I drink a lot of, IPAs. Okay, their website's pretty decent for a brewery. I like it. They have curbside pickup. All right, we'll check out Alchemist Brewing in Vermont then, everybody. It's pretty sweet. Are you still tagging people, Kurt, on Instagram? I see Instagram notifications popping up saying you should sponsor all things overlanding. You need to stop it. All right, so let's talk about our main topic for the night. So overlanding and what do you do, right? So I've kind of broke it up into a few sections that we could kind of talk about. So the first one is, what do you do on the way to your destination, right? So we all know overlanding is like enjoying the journey as much as the destination. It's not really about the destination, but I mean, me being in the Midwest, everything's kind of a destination. Like it's just flat highways. To get from here to West Virginia was a 10-hour slog. there wasn't anything super exciting to see, and we only had about 3 or 4 days, so like we couldn't really stop and like get off the road and see a bunch of sites because our goal was to get to West Virginia and then overland there. But like that's the first thing. What do you do on your way to the overland trip? Like what do you do to make it fun? And then what do you do once you get to camp? And then finally, what do you do when you break camp, right, during the day? Now, I think we all know kind of the answer to that is overlanding, but like, especially for people that are new, which seem to be who are attracted to my channel, probably because I'm not knowledgeable at all. Kidding. A lot of people don't really think about like what there is to do during the day, or they view it. I feel like a lot of new people view it as sort of like going from one destination to another, and like it's just literally like a slog to get from there to the next place. And so I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit. You can get some on eBay? Okay, cool. I'm gonna look on eBay for that beer. Thank you for the tip, Ripper. Appreciate it. All right, so starting with the what do you do on the way to your overlanding destination, right? So there's a ton of things you can do, right? Like I said, if you've got the time, you can jump off. You could mark, pre-mark destinations. You could pre-mark breweries and stop at breweries on your way. Post up again in the comments, though, with what you guys do when you're on your way to a destination, if you will. So checking out the sites, right? So when we went to West Virginia, again, most of the drive was like really boring highway. There was a near-death experience. I forget where we were, but there were 2 of us at that time. No, we were all together then. There were 3 rigs at that point, and we met a 4th one later on. We were driving down the highway, and I have a big old Xterra with a bunch of weight on it, and we were going to be gone for 4 days, so I was loaded to the gills. And all of a sudden, like, the highway stopped. And I mean, I was like, the brakes were on the floor, and I thought, you know what? This is it. This is where I wreck my truck, and I'm out of overlanding before the trip even starts. But luckily I got stopped within inches of Cody, my buddy's bumper, and we were fine. But it was a close one. But so aside from near-death experiences, being able to like pre-mark some destinations, some restaurants, some breweries, things like that to check out on the way are always exciting. So when we went to West Virginia, we did see some like really cool like small towns with some awesome like murals and stuff in them, some sort of scenic mountainous type terrain that was pretty cool. So there was a lot of cool stuff to take pictures of and just kind of stop and take in the sights and enjoy. So that was a lot of fun. So definitely not rushing through it too much, I feel like is kind of important. So you don't want to rush through it too much. You want to enjoy the sights. You want to enjoy, what's going on around you. You want to check out places that you haven't been before. Again, restaurants are kind of my big thing, as you can probably tell. I'm getting a little chunkier here, but like checking out new restaurants is a huge thing. Although now most of them are closed, I guess. So it's been a few months since I've been on a trip, so I might be outdated here. There, you could check out super sketchy like rest stops at night. So on that trip, we left on a Thursday night at like 4 o'clock and drove until like midnight, and then slept for about 3 hours at a rest stop to wait for the 3rd truck to catch up with us. And then we left at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and we kept driving until about 8 or 9 o'clock when we finally got there to West Virginia. And then we drove all day through trails and awesome stuff, exhausted until we got to our first campsite. But sleeping there was interesting. So like, I'd love it if you guys, and I'll catch up on the comments here in a second, but I would love it if you guys could post up and let me know like, what do you do when you're on your way to places that are far away? Like, do you always find dispersed camping? Do you find yourself in like a Walmart parking lot? Do you sleep in your vehicle? Do you, what do you do? Do you go to like KOA campgrounds? Like, I'm just curious what you guys do, like where you stop. Where do you feel safe? Like there's a lot of concern. Like at that rest stop, I didn't sleep well, right? Because I kind of felt in danger a lot of the time. And there was a point where I woke up. It was probably like 1:32 in the morning. It was super hot. I had the truck turned off and I had my windows cracked because it was so hot I didn't want to die. And I look up and I see flashlights like shining through the windows, and I'm like, what the heck? And I look behind me and it's a cop car with his spot on, and he's like shining them in our vehicles. And I'm like, I actually don't know if it's illegal for me to be sleeping in a rest stop in my vehicle. I kind of always assumed that was okay, but I'm curious what you guys, like what experiences you guys have had, and like what you do when you have to sleep on the way to like an overlanding destination if you can't find dispersed camping. So post up about that. Let me catch up on the comments here though. So Ripper says, Colorado, Utah, Arizona is at a minimum of 24 hours of driving from Massachusetts. Well, yeah, that's a ways away. You're right. I'm in Indiana, so I'm actually closer than you for that. But yeah, it's about that time. I think I looked because a couple of friends went a few years ago to Moab, and I think it was like 20 hours. So it was going to be like a good 2.5, 3 day drive just to get there, which is was crazy, and that's kind of why I didn't go, because I was like, I don't know that I can take 2 weeks off work. Kurt says his big thing is fly fishing. Started my own fly fishing and fly fishing business as a side hustle to also help incorporate it. That's cool, Kurt. I didn't know that. I knew you liked to fish, but I didn't know you incorporated it. There seems to be a lot of people who do both. That's cool. I'm curious about that, if you can earn a living off that, but that sounds amazing. Ripper says wife's family lives in western Illinois and eastern Iowa, so we always stop there. After that, we just hammer till we get to there. We need breaks from the highway. We look for Cabela's to walk around. That's a good idea. I hadn't really thought about that, but Cabela's are pretty fun. That's pretty sweet. And then Ripper says, once we are in the state it starts, nothing is off the table. That's cool. Dylan says Walmart works. That's true. I've never slept in a Walmart parking lot, but I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where people like have their crap stolen or like get arrested or things like that. And so that's why I'm like hesitant. But then I see a lot of van life videos where people are like, yeah, I just switch from one Walmart to the next every couple of days and I'm good. So it's really interesting. And Chick-fil-A is another option. Okay, Ripper says when they're far away, they just continuously drive and sleep in shifts. That's kind of the thing, right? Is like you don't want to. Well, I would love for every trip to be like full of exotic destinations and just like taking it easy and driving 6 hours a day and seeing a bunch of sights. It's just, unfortunately, that's not realistic nowadays, right? Like the U.S. is just like a bunch of highways, and it seems like there's just not a lot left. So you kind of just have to go. And if you want to spend more time in nature, you kind of have to just slog through it nonstop and then get there to actually enjoy it. So I'm with you. Far away sleep in Chick-fil-A works. I won't go to a state where my concealed carry isn't reciprocated. Good to know, Kurt. There are only a few of those, I think, aren't there? Hiking guy says hotel parking lot. That's a good idea, actually, because like they're expecting people to be there overnight. As long as you're discreet about it, like not popping your rooftop tent, maybe. Although maybe that's okay. I don't know. ZG says I like to find a butcher shop en route and pick a good cut of meat for dinner. Now you're talking my language, ZG. That is it. Finding some good, like a good steak. If you saw, I think I posted maybe about my kitchen set. I cooked a steak the last trip that I took. It was like a $15 steak. It was probably about that big and about that thick, and I ended up having to cut it into fillets because it was so big I couldn't get it to cook. So yeah, a good cut of meat is always good. St. Louis Arch says, I just plan on dispersed camping, look for things along the way ahead of time and go the short way of the highway. Lots of options out west. See, that's kind of the thing. Midwest, not so much. Like, again, West Virginia was about 10 hours, all highway. And then once we got there, it was amazing. So that's why we just hustled through it and just got there. We did take our time once we hit West Virginia and kind of went through those small towns, but most of the trip was just highway bombing, right? But I would much rather do dispersed camping, but there's so much work to do sort of in those intermediate states, right? Like in Ohio, like it's just tougher. I got to kind of think out my options. Jeremy, hey buddy, what's up? We were just chatting a little bit ago. A few years ago, I took a road trip to Texas, had to spend the night in my Xterra at a rest stop, safer than continuing to drive in the middle of the night when you're tired. Keep up the good work. Thanks, man. Yeah, and you're right. You got to be careful about that. I think when I was in high school, once I fell asleep at the wheel for a brief second, and it was one of the scariest things ever. Like I felt the tires dip off the road and I woke up and I was heading towards a ditch and I saved it, but that was the one time. And then I was like, you know what? It's not worth it, right? Like I'll just not drive home if I'm that tired. Ripper says, I'm fortunate to work in EMS and it's not uncommon for me to take 3 to 4 weeks off. That's sweet. I've done a couple episodes about like what jobs are the best for overlanding. And there's a million of them, right? Like there's no one answer. But just having that flexibility is cool. So that's awesome. St. Louis Arch says, I also like taking back roads. That's true too. Like you don't always have to stay on the highway. Once we get kind of close to our destination, we generally hop off and start going exploring. We could do a camp kitchen cooking chat, I bet. Yeah, we could do that. We did talk about it a little bit. We talked about gear. But we could do a kitchen thing one time, I'm sure. Ripper says longer trips are preferred, typically one a year with a few 5+ day trips a year and a bunch of half-day trips. Nothing this year as I'm back in school, but hopefully for the end of 2021. Yeah, that's cool. That's kind of like my dream. Right now for me, like a big trip for me is like a long weekend, right? Like if I can get like a Friday and a Monday off and then go, leave Thursday night and drive somewhere, like that's how I did the West Virginia trip. It was like 10 hours out, doing most of it Thursday night and early Friday morning, and then getting there at like breakfast time, and then just being exhausted and just toughing it out all day, and then hitting camp at like 6 o'clock and just starting to drink beers and going to sleep early, and then catching up, and then you just go from there. And then I think we made the whole trip home on Did we stay Monday? We might have been Monday. Yeah, on Monday we made the whole trip home. So we basically overlanded all the way until Monday morning, and then we woke up and we drove all the way back. So yeah, good points. Good points. So when you're stuck on the highway, right, and you're just driving, like, what do you guys listen to? Do you listen to podcasts? Are you music people? Do you listen to like books on tape? And no, you don't have to say you listen to the All Things Overlanding podcast. You don't have to lie to me. Just tell me the truth. I personally, like, I can't really do, I like books on tape, but like, I get like 10 minutes into it and then I'm like road raging at somebody. And then I realize I missed like a whole chapter and I have no idea what's going on in the book. So I don't listen to books a lot on the road. Same with podcasts where like, if I really want to focus on one, like I can maybe do it for like a half hour at a time and then I have to just shut it off. Because there's just too many dumb people on the highways, man. Like it's just, I would like to say that I don't have a ton of road rage, but I do. I really do. It's more just, and it's the little stuff even, like people cutting me off or like, oh, it makes me so mad. And then I'm just like cursing in my car for like 5 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, wait, what was I listening to? So I do music. I'm more of a music person. I'm going too fast for you, Ripper. I'm sorry. I will slow down. I'm going to drink a beer while you catch up. I need more excuses for that. All right, ZG says, I do expedite deliveries in my Sprinter for a living. I've slept at a truck stop, motels, Walmarts, hospital, parking lots. That's cool. And you're alive, so it's not as dangerous as everybody thinks. St. Louis Arch says music or podcasts. That's cool. Ripper says, I can't keep up with you. I could talk about all this for days. It's what keeps me alive. The cooking, photography, exploring, all the backcountry stuff, like caves, waterfalls, mines. Yeah, that's super cool stuff. Dylan says music. All right. Are we caught up? Kurt says, I listen to podcasts a lot. I listen to yours on the way to work since I have an hour commute one way each day. Love some good tunes on my Spotify. Ripper says views and off the wall stuff. I like that too. The wife and I took a trip and it was not an overlanding trip. We were going somewhere. But like there was this one little town that literally was like, we have all the biggest stuff, like the biggest rocking chair, the biggest pencil, the biggest ball of yarn. And I was like, this is such a tourist trap, but we just have to go see it. Like, it's just super quirky and it was a lot of like fun. Like we took a lot of fun pictures and stuff. The kids were like on the legs of the rocking chair and it was a lot of fun. Like it's cool seeing that stuff. Like you don't see it every day. So it's a lot of fun just stopping at random places. If you see something that seems interesting, even if it's not part of the plan, sometimes it's just fun to stop and check it out, you know? So cool. So podcast, books on tape, Kindle, music. Got a lot of music listeners. Ripper does music. That's cool. All right. Yeah. Ripper hit up Kurt on Instagram. A place that has 40 hours of music. See, like I don't know if I just have a short attention span or what. I have probably like 5 or 6 really solid playlists, but they're probably about an hour each. And like I'll go for a little bit and listen to one on repeat for like an hour, hour and a half, and then I got to switch. Then I got to totally switch. Like I might go from like alternative to like Run the Jewels to like random rap stuff. Like I just go all over the place. But the music for me is just like background noise to keep me occupied. Dylan is asking 40 hours. That is a long playlist. All right, so we kind of talked about this a little bit, so I'm going to be brief on this part, but food. Like again, as I mentioned, that's one of my favorite part about these trips is in the past I was kind of like a creature of habit and I would just kind of go and like stop at McDonald's because I know their menu and I like their food and I'm like, okay, McDonald's it is every meal of the day for the 2 days that I'm driving. But since I've gotten a little older, I'm like, man, I love checking out unique, weird restaurants. Like, give me like a weird little burger joint, and I would much rather have that than fast food any day of the week. So that's kind of become one of my favorite things. Like, I went on a Manistee trip up in Michigan probably about 2-3 years ago now, and never been up there before. And I was by myself. I was solo. Well, I went with a group, but like we met up with the group, and then we went for a couple days, and then we were leaving. And there were a couple of other Xterra guys that I kind of got to talking to on the trip. And so on our way out, we found this little mom and pop breakfast place, and the parking lot was packed. And we go inside, and it's like a building that like used to be like another business that they converted into like a restaurant. And it was literally like a family-owned thing. And it was some of the best biscuits and gravy I've ever had. And like eggs and stuff on top of it. Like it was like a biscuit and gravy, like just everything covered in gravy with like eggs and bacon and sausage and biscuits. And I still think about that. Slim Jims. Yeah, I'm okay with Slim Jims. I like getting snacky foods. Slim Jims are okay. Anything meat is good. Ripper says local meats and veggies and fruits and local joints. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. St. Louis Arch says plenty of music on memory card for those when there's no cell signal. That's smart. I save, so we have Amazon Music and I save mine to my phone so that even if we lose signal, like I've got my playlist saved. You just got to be careful because that stuff gets big quick. So cool. So that's kind of like, I think that kind of covers most of like what you do on a trip, right? Like on the way to your destination. So thank you guys for the feedback on that. That was a good chat. But then once you get to camp, right? So again, using my West Virginia trip as an example, we drove for 10 hours straight. We got there at like 8 in the morning. Now in that case, we actually then went overlanding. So that'll be in the what you do during the day thing here in a second. But then once we got to camp that night, like you guys tell me what you do, like when you get to camp, because Dylan, you're cracking me up, man. Because like once you get to camp, like I think that's what my wife is asking a lot, and she may have fallen off, which is good because now I can talk about her. I'm kidding because she's probably watching. But like I like to go for like 2 or 3 days at a time, or I like to even just go like leave in the morning and get to like when I go to even just Hoosier National Forest for like a one-nighter, I'd rather go in the morning and get there, stop and eat something on the way and then like bring some good food with me and hang out all day. And she's like, what do? You just sit there all day? And that's kind of part of it, but like I actually enjoy all the stuff that makes up like setting up camp. Like I like setting up my tent and putting my awning out and setting up my table and setting up all my, kitchen stuff and getting my water out and my cooler out. And just like the setup of camp is kind of, I don't know if it's cathartic or what, like, but I like setting up camp. Like I like sort of like rolling up in a truck, right? Like that's kind of the whole thing of overlanding is you have basically like a house on wheels. But not as like, it's not an RV, right? But it's just cool I love how my vehicle like transforms into like a home base basically. But so I do like setting all that stuff up. I like, especially in the winter, I like collecting and processing firewood because I know, as I'm saying in the winter, like I'm going to need it. Like if the trip's going to be miserable if I can't get a fire started and I can't have like a good stockpile of wood. So now that I have the chainsaw especially and it's not so much manual labor, like I actually like finding dead trees and chopping them up and making a wood pile and kind of like processing the wood and getting kindling and doing all that stuff. So I kind of find that to be quite a bit of fun. So I do that stuff. And then of course, like we've been talking about, you guys are making me hungry. Cooking, that's one of my favorite things. Once I get to camp, again, in the past, like, and it evolves constantly, right? But in the past, I would always sort of, like bring hot dogs and that was it. And now I'm like really into like cooking. Like I want green beans and mashed potatoes and steak and just like, seasonings and gravy and just like everything that I could possibly get to like make a really good, delicious meal and then just sit in the silence of the woods and listen to the birds and the bugs and just eat and be chill and like away from technology for a while. And then I don't hate like cleaning up after dinner. Like now that I've kind of built out, and again, if you've seen that previous video where I did my kitchen setup, like I've got a wash bin, I've got a little wash brush, I've got a pretty good setup for cleaning my dishes now. And I used to like bring these things home filthy and greasy and like I was always mad because I was getting stuff on the carpets and the floor. And now I actually like I don't mind like behaving like a human in the woods and like cleaning up my stuff and hanging it up on my little clothesline to dry and all that stuff. So I don't mind that. And then, like after you're done with eating and stuff, especially if you're with other people, just honestly, just chilling around the fire, having a conversation with people, drinking a few beers, smoking a cigar or two, like that's so relaxing. Like that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend. It's just going to be a 1-day quick trip. I'm going to take some cigars. I'm going to take some beers. I'm going to get all set up. I'm going to collect my wood and then I'm just going to relax. I'm going to read a book, as some of you are mentioning here, and I'll catch up here in a second. Reading a book, not something that I do super regularly, but like when I go camping, it's just so nice to have literally nothing going on and no one messing with you or talking to you or interrupting you. And you can just sit there and just like enjoy reading a book. And sleeping too, as funny as it sounds, like for a while, it took me a while to like get a good setup, but hammock camping, I sleep like a baby in a hammock. And in my new rooftop tent, I actually sleep pretty well too. So I actually don't mind sleeping. And I feel like it's almost like having a white noise machine, right? With all the bugs again at night, like it's different than sleeping in like the silence of your house. So it's just, there's something peaceful about it. And then waking up and looking out through the screen mesh, the next morning to like a beautiful woodland view instead of like the foot of your bed. Like there's just something really nice about it, which I like. And And this is gonna sound kind of funny, but like if I am ever in a spot where I do have internet, sometimes I just like will watch like a super inappropriate like horror movie or something, you know, like something that I can't maybe get a chance to watch at home because of the kids. But when I'm out there, I'm like, all right, let's just watch this bloody horror movie. That's fine. So that kind of covers my things that I do in camp, but there's a bunch of stuff here now, so I'm gonna catch up. So Kurt says he's planning a trip for August and found this cool place. Google Coffee's General Store, Edgemont, North Carolina. Okay. Yes, sir. I will do that. What's it called? Dylan, you're still cracking me up. Coffee's General Store, Edgemont, North Carolina. All right, if I pull this up here, they have a website. Not found. Maybe they don't have a website. Oh, might be here. I don't think they have a website. Or at least I'm not seeing it. This is like a bunch of like Yelp stuff and like Google stuff. Oh, but there is a picture though. Here, I can show you this picture. Okay, that does look pretty cool. This looks like a slice out of time. Here, I'll show you. Look at that place. That is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. If I saw that place, I would definitely stop. Although I will say that I stopped at a place. Now, this was in Indiana, so it's not quite the same. But I stopped in a place that looked kind of like that. And I was like, oh, cool, a little general store. And I walked in and like literally everyone in the place turned around. Like everything stopped and they all turned around and looked at me. And I was like, oh, shit. Like I could hear the banjos playing. And I was like, oh, my God, what have I just gotten myself into? And I thought maybe they'll have like, the real reason I stopped is I was like, I didn't have any beer. And I was like, maybe they'll have some like really unique, cool local stuff. Nope. It was all like MGD, Coors Light, Miller Lite. That was literally all that they had. So, but then I was already in there and everyone was staring at me. So I felt like I had to buy something. So I bought like some brownies or something, like one of those, like the little Debbie like brownies. And I was like, these please. And like I walked out quickly and drove away. But it was awkward. It was weird. So if they're cool places where they don't act like they're going to murder you or like you're invading their privacy, then it can be fun. Dylan says, where the heck are the likes? Thanks, Dylan. Kurt says, love finding little hole-in-the-wall mom and pop shops. Yep. Ripper says when he gets to camp, he likes to set up, cook, read music, explore the area. Depends on how long we're going to be here. Oh, I see Jeremiah's here. I was going to ask you, Jeremiah, about your new electric bike thing. Because that's something I would love to do. If I had, so Jeremiah, Overland Pioneers, just got, or is getting, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, one of those like electric motorcycle-y bike type things that he can charge off of his trailer and then like go exploring. And that to me seems really cool. Like I'd love to, because I don't have a trailer. I don't have a trailer like Jeremiah does, but if I could set up my truck as base camp and like lock it up and then hop on my little motorcycle and go like explore some trails and check some stuff out, that would be sweet. That would be super cool. So I can't wait to see that at Core, Jeremiah. You better bring it. I mean, I know you will, but Kurt says you enjoy setting up the turbo toilet. It is kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty neat. It takes like 10 seconds. Super easy. It's just nice. You always got to set that up because you never know when you're going to need it, and you don't want to be unprepared. St. Louis Arch says four-wheel drive trailer or trails, mines, ghost towns. So you're out west. Yeah, I forgot about that. We don't have things like that here. We have trees or gravel and trees. That's all that I've got. So I can look at some trails-ish, but they're not even four-wheel drive trails. They're like gravel roads or like hiking trails. That's about all I got. Overland Pioneer says, I like camp set up in 5 minutes so the beer can be consumed in a prompt manner. Yes, and for the record, everyone, not that I'm bitter at all, but Overland Pioneers has a beer sponsor, so he's winning for sure on that. Hello, Jeremiah. Good to have you, buddy. I appreciate you stopping by. And then Kurt says Country Boy Beer, right? See? Everybody knows. This is why. If you were a brewery, and I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole for long, but if you were a brewery, everyone in my channel knows Overland Pioneer's beer sponsor. Like, you want to talk about exposure, it doesn't get much. I'm talking about 2 cases a month. That's all I'm asking. And I will talk about you nonstop. I talk about Jeremiah's nonstop, and they don't give me anything. All right, I'm done. ZG says, I like to fine-tune my nap skills. That's pretty cool. I've been a hammock camper for a long time before I built the rooftop tent, and now I'm kind of like, I may go back to like setting up a hammock and just having it for during the day. Actually, that's a great idea. I'm going to do that this weekend. I'm going to take my hammock with me anyways, just to literally relax in during the day. I am live on the radio, guys. What do you want? Kids. All right. They're okay. They'll be all right. My wife left me tonight. She knew I had this live stream, and she's like, I'm going over to my friend's house to drink drinks. And now my kids are yelling at me from the top of the stairs. So that's what happens. Life gets you. All right, I'm catching up here now. Ripper says Top Gear UK when I have service. Yeah, that was good. Before they all left, that was good. The new one's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's just okay. Like, they've got a lot of weird things and a lot of weird transitions. Overland Pioneer says locating a good poo location in the general area of camp. That's first priority. Like, that is, honestly, that's what I do first. Because you never know, right? Like, you might be okay 1 minute, and then the next minute, that beer might hit you. You never know. So it's just good to be prepared, just to have it set up. I agree. Kurt says, look at the Google images. The building is 130 years old. Yeah, that thing is sweet. Here, I'll share it back up, and we'll go through a couple images. Hopefully there's nothing inappropriate in this search. Yeah, I mean, this thing does look really cool. Coffee's General Store. That's pretty cool. Surprised there's no bullet holes in it. Pretty sweet. Oh, that's cool. What year is this from? Doesn't say. All right. Well, yeah, you're right. That place is pretty cool. I'll give you that, Kurt. I dig it. I dig it. Yeah, okay. Overland Pioneers. Sir, is it pronounced Sir Ron E? Dirt bike? Michelle Vincent Pope says E, the letter E. It's a mystery. That means that my wife and her friends are still watching, though. So I hope you guys know that while I'm live streaming to at least 13 viewers right now, the kids are upstairs yelling at me because something's wrong and I can't go up there and check on them. So hopefully they're okay. I mean, they're big enough, they'll be fine. I'm sure that one of them is fighting with the other one, and that's the problem. Ripper says up here in the Northeast, photography, fishing, kayaking, fat biking, and again, cooking. Yeah, always cooking. Love cooking for others and doing outlandish meals at camp. Lamb chops with mushroom risotto and skewered Brussels. Okay. All right, fancy pants. Come down here to Indiana and let's hang out. I want to go overlanding with you. Kurt says yes and agrees. And Ripper says luggable loo. That, that's the luggable loos are really nice too. So if you didn't know, Ripper, just a couple days ago, I dropped a video of my toilet setup. It's had 200 views in 2 days. So apparently I'm hitting a chord here. There are not enough people talking about pooping in the woods. But I have a thing called a turbo toilet, which everyone's very interested in, but it folds down to about that thick. And it's, the size of a toilet seat around. But it's literally a fold flat toilet. So it saved me all kinds of room over my old 5-gallon bucket and all that. Yes, Kurt, you nailed it. Exactly. She knew that the one day of the week that I have a live stream and the kids go to bed at 8:30 and my live stream's at 9, she was like, I'm going over to the friend's house to drink. And I was like, oh, okay. And now the kids are upstairs running around doing God knows what. So, it's right. Oh, hey, Matt. What's up, dude? We already talked about beer. You're late. You missed it. I have a Juicy Haze IPA, and then I'm getting ready to pop into a New Belgium experimental IPA. Dylan says, come on, everyone watching this, like it. Sure, yes. Like it, and then go to my channel and like all the videos on the channel. That'd be fantastic. Ripper says, come explore Maine. I would love to go out east. Like, I love the East Coast. Maybe I will. I went out to West Virginia. That's kind of on the way out there. But yeah, from Indiana, it's a bit of a trek. But, I'd love to do it someday. If I ever get a beer sponsor, maybe I'll be rich enough after that I will be able to afford to do that. Ripper says, I have a memorable poo story that I like to tell, so I get it. I'm very curious about that, but also unsure whether we're allowed to talk about it on live streams on YouTube. Cool. All right, so moving into the sort of the last piece here, because we're coming up on time. I try to keep these to an hour so that it's not too much of your guys' night. And I probably ought to check on my kids at some point, because apparently something's going on. But so during the day, right? So again, this is my wife's question. So if she's still watching, she's like, what do you do all day? Like, how do you just stay out there and hang out? We've kind of talked about a little bit of it, but like, you still have to pack up all your stuff. So like when you're on an overlanding trip, right, you go to a place and you camp for the night. And again, like I just mentioned, you pull out an awning and a table and a folding table and a chair and, set up your rooftop tent. You do all these things to set up. So the next day you got to pack everything up. So that takes some time. You got to be cognizant of that. If you have plans or certain times of day that you're supposed to be somewhere, like it can take a long time to pack up and get everybody going, especially if there's multiple rigs. Sometimes if you're not already planned out, you have to talk about what your plans are going to be for the day. So like generally on the trips I've been on, we have an idea of what we're doing, but not like a firm one. So we have like some stuff that we kind of want to see, but like it's just sort of tacitly tied together. So a lot of the times we'll wake up in the morning, we'll pack up our stuff, we'll eat some breakfast, and then we actually have a good time like just chatting about what we want to do that day, kind of the plans, where we want to go, what we want to hit. If somebody else has an idea that maybe the other person didn't think about, we kind of come together and come up with an idea. So planning is actually a lot of fun, I think, during the day to kind of get going. And then once you do that, like, again, my wife thinks that you just go and you camp for 2 days, right? But that's not really it. Like, you camp at night, so you hit camp, around dinner time, and then you sleep that night. But then when you wake up the next morning, like, it's generally like 10 to 12 hours of like, if I can, hardcore like trail stuff, right? So if you can find good trails, so out in West Virginia, actually, we found quite a few. We had some good water crossings. We had some really rocky stuff that we had to climb over, and it was a lot of fun. That's part of why I want to go to the Ozarks, because there's a ton of that type of like technical overlanding out there. And so like that is a lot of it. And it can be a little exhausting, but it's a lot of fun just to like constantly overcome obstacles and things like that. And actually that can be a lot of the time is recovery, right? So you could deal with obstacles like fallen trees, and that could take you an hour or two to like cut up a tree and like make way to get through the trail, or you may have to turn around and go back because you don't want to take that time to cut it up and get through that place. Or if someone gets stuck or off the trail, or, then recoveries sometimes, I went, this wasn't an overlanding trip, but I went off-roading a couple of years ago in like as winter was thawing, and we literally hit this off-road park, and it was like a big open field to get to the trails, and we spent the whole entire day recovering people because it was just like melting ice mud, and we never even hit a trail. We never got to a trail. We spent 8-9 hours trying to get to the trails and then giving up and trying to get out to go home. And so it was just like one after another, pulling someone out, and then someone else gets stuck, and it took us a whole day. And I tell you what, everybody's like, that's dumb. And it is kind of dumb, but it was a lot of fun. Like everybody had a really good time, and it was a lot of fun. So anyways, recovering people is fun. Overcoming obstacles is fun. Like we had a time when we were in West Virginia where it was in between trails. We were actually on paved roads, and it's super hilly. It's West Virginia, right? So we're going up and down all these hills, and as we're doing it, I get a radio call from a guy behind me, and he's like, "Hey, Fletch, your right rear brake is pouring smoke." And I was like, "Oh shit." And so we pulled over and we stopped. And I stopped and I put the truck in park, and I got out and I walk around. It's just white smoke just pouring out of the right rear brake. And I'm like, oh crap. So like we spent a good amount of time. Like we probably spent 15-20 minutes there. We had to get I got my fire extinguisher out. We were like just sitting there. We were pouring water on it. Turns out it just got really hot. So then I started using my gears to kind of, engine brake a little bit going up and down the hills, and it was fine from there on out. But we don't have those kind of hills here in Indiana. So it didn't occur to me that I was overworking the brakes, and it could have gone a lot worse, but it actually wasn't too bad. So hold on, Kurt, I'll get to you in a second. And then exploring, like Jeremiah, I'm sure you could talk a lot about this, but like that's half the fun too, is we have spots we want to hit when we go a lot of the times, and we kind of have, markers, GPS markers, but a lot of the times we have no idea how we're going to get there or what's in between one to the next. So if you see a cool trail and you don't have anywhere to be except that marker and it's on the way, like you're going to hit it. So being able to go exploring and check out new sites, trails, find new dispersed campsites. We found one in Wisconsin. I went on the Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail that was like lakeside. Like I have no idea how no one knew about this place, but we just rolled up about dinner time, saw this little path that went down, and we were like, that looks interesting. We went down this thing, and it opened up at the end, and it was like a lake. A big lake with like a bunch of pine trees and stuff. And it was a beautiful sight. And it was like 3-4 o'clock. So it was close to dinner time. We were like, you know what? We're just going to stay here for the night. And it was worth it because it was amazing. So yeah. And then, restocking, right? So if it's a long enough trip, unless you have a fridge freezer and you literally like pack it up and you're very good about that stuff, like a lot of the times we will 2 or 3 days in, we'll stop and we'll hit up a grocery store or something and we'll restock because we didn't have enough room to take everything with us that we wanted, or we may see some, some unique beers or some unique stuff that we want to grab to add to the collection. You might need ice if you're using a cooler, gas, that kind of stuff. So sometimes that's just as much fun, right? Like hitting up the weird little mom and pops or the weird little Dollar Trees and stuff, finding weird stuff and joking about it and having a good time with people. So cool. Let me go catch up here because there's a bunch going. Kurt, thanks for the $2. Always tip your bartender. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Matt says steak plus beer plus hiking plus off-roading plus camping, all good things. Yep, agree. Ripper says wife and I have it down to a science. We're able to pack up in about 30 minutes. Jeez, that's impressive. 30 minutes is really impressive. So I literally have a spreadsheet on my laptop right now for my one-day trip that I'm about to take because I always forget something. I do have the drawer system now, which helps, in the rooftop tent. So like the majority of my gear is in the truck. So it's not like I'm going to forget anything important. The toilet is always in the truck because it's so small. But like the last time I went, I forgot toilet paper. So that was fun. But luckily, Matt actually in the chat was coming, and I texted him. I'm like, dude, stop and get toilet paper. I have a toilet, but I don't have any toilet paper. So he helped me out. But so I need a list, man. I always forget something. Kurt says, you bought chaps with your chainsaw, right? No, I just tough it out, And mine's an electric anyways, so like it's not going to stop if it hits chaps anyways. It's just going to keep chewing. So I'm just very, very careful with it. It's a 10-inch. It's like a little Black & Decker electric chainsaw. It's not super, I'm pretty cautious with it. Once I start drinking, I stop using it. Dylan says, why don't you sell the daily and the Xterra and buy a capable, nice daily and then lift it and throw some wheels and tires on it and buy a trailer? Might have to get Nissan on board as a sponsor. Yeah. Dylan, you have all the answers, man. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I currently have an ABS sensor out on the Infinity though, so I have to fix that. And I've just refused to spend $200 on that part to do. It'll take me 10 minutes, but it's just, I've been putting it off for like 3 months because I just refuse. I'm looking for like a cheaper alternative to a $200 part. But you're right. I am actually not against, I have considered selling the Infinity a few times, if for nothing else than to just be able to like buy a trailer and then have, 10 grand left, like that. I feel like that would be a pretty good trade. So yeah, just keep pounding on me. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. The Xterra is a very capable daily. It's super reliable too, surprisingly. It's just with the MTs and the age, it is a little noisy and it doesn't have any sway bars, so it's a little, with the rooftop tent on top, it gets fun. I can make people really nervous around me when we take turns and stuff. Kurt says he's waiting for the new version of the Xterra. I don't think there's going to be a new version of the Xterra. I'm not holding my breath for that. Then you have less stuff to store because you only have a trailer and a daily driver. Dylan, you are right. I'm not disagreeing with you. Your wisdom is timeless. You're correct. Kurt says LOL. Dylan says also that will probably make your wife happy. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Like every time I get a fast car and then sell it, then she gets sad about it. Like she hates it when I get it, but then she's sad about it when I sell it. Like if I did that, probably what I would do is sell the Infinity and buy like an old Datsun like 240Z or something for like $5 to $7 grand and make that a project car and then buy a trailer, right? Like that would be my trade-off, is I would get more cars, which is why the wife won't let me do that. Ripper says, yeah, Dylan says it will also make your wife happy. Yeah, maybe. Ripper says we have a fridge, but we only buy for 3 to 4 days at a time, so we can be sure to buy from local places. Yeah, so that's cool. I love doing that too. It's just, if I have like 2 days worth of stuff, then I feel pretty good, and I know I'm going to hit some place where I can buy stuff. Kurt says open the new beer. It's been 5 minutes. 55 minutes on the same beer. I know. I'm the one talking. Experimental. Here we go. All right. So Ripper says, well, we use baby wipes. Baby wipes are key to keeping the backside happy. I have baby wipes, but I usually use them for my hands. But that's a good point. I understand the purpose of baby wipes. I think that's a good point. You need a portable bidet, and then you'd be set. Dylan says, do it, sell all your things. Well, I'll think about it. Ripper says lockers. Those are, yeah. I'm open diffs, and I've gone through a ton of stuff, but lockers would be really nice. Even more capable. The stuff you can do with dual lockers will blow you away. Yeah. I could just buy like an old, Lexus or Toyota whatchamacallit, what are they? The Sequoias. They've got, aren't they locked, like triple locked, double locked? A few of those like LC, what are they? The 80s, the 60s series? I don't know my Toyotas at all. 240SX Overland Edition. Yeah, I don't think that would get very far. Baby wipes are good. Well, yes. Okay. Cool. I think we're getting off topic now, guys. We're losing the thread here. So yeah, all right. So that was kind of the three pieces that I wanted to talk about tonight, right? So for wiping the grime off all over, yes, baby wipes are great. I highly recommend them. I always have a couple packs of them in my truck just for like cleaning my hands. I use them a lot of the times for like cleaning out my pans and stuff and griddle and all, because they're disposable. You know, they're already set up for that stuff. Ripper says lock the X. I'm not opposed to that. I think there's and it's fairly inexpensive. There's like a front diff locker from, I think it's a Locka locker, the Locka. I think it's like $200, and I could probably do it myself. Or I mean, it might even be worth it just to not have to mess with it, to pay somebody to do it. Shower pouch. What is that, Jeremiah? Shower pouch? You mean like one of those portable showers? I don't know what a shower pouch is. Sounds really interesting though. Now I need to know. Okay, I'm searching it up. We're learning new things tonight, everybody. Shower pouch. Is it just wipes? Shower pouch wipes. They're wipes. Okay. Ooh, that is kind of fancy. Shower pouch is a large 2 foot by 1 foot. That is large. Was that a towel? Oh, pocket-sized hygiene solutions for the active adventurer. It's 2 foot by 1 foot, and it's like a giant baby wipe. That's pretty cool. Oh, yeah. Ripper says spray bottle of 90% isopropyl alcohol to wipe pans and utensils. That's a pretty good idea, actually. I just use soap, but that would probably do a better job of cleaning it out. Shower pouch looks good but spendy. It's a giant wipe. Go big or go home. ARB lockers? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could spend, half of what the truck is worth on lockers if I wanted to, for sure. I could do air lockers and have more onboard air than I've already got and all that stuff too. Those aren't bad ideas. I think you're not wrong. I love the ideas here, guys. I have a USB rechargeable shower head that we use for showers. That's pretty cool. I've seen a lot of those pouches. I've been really curious. So Mo Leisures, who is actually the Xterra that's pictured in the cover for this video, they built their own PVC heated shower deal, and it's pretty cool. And it's so cheap to just do it yourself. Like, it seems pretty reasonable. But my thing is, realistically, right? Like, I think that idea is fantastic. But like, even on the West Virginia trip, it was a 4-day trip, 3-night, 4-day trip. By the second, third day, we were like, this is gross. Like, we need to get to a shower. Like, and I get it, but that's about one of the longer trips that I've honestly been able to take. And we just stayed in a state park the third night. Like, that's what we did. They had a shower there. We took a nice shower. They had a lake. We swam a little bit. We, took a shower in the nice state park shower. I mean, nice compared to like showering next to your vehicle. And it wasn't bad. Like, it was kind of nice just to like take a break from having to find dispersed camping and just go stay in a state park. Now that depends too, right? Like, we went in like September-ish, I think, of last year. Or was that last year? The year before? Last year. So there was no one. It was like getting to be fall, and so it wasn't like the summer, so it was kind of nice. We wash with soap, then spray with alcohol before you put away. I mean, that's a good idea. Kill all the germs and stuff. See, that depends on how long you're going to be out too, right? Like, if you're going to be out and you're going to have to reuse those pans, then yes, you need to totally sanitize them. With me, I have a couple of pan sets that I use. So I generally just think through the stuff I'm going to have to cook, and I use one and I clean it out for the most part, and then I put it back into the bag knowing it's dirty, pull my other one out, use that the next day, that kind of stuff. Like the griddle, I'll clean off more with soap and I'll hang it up and let it dry, and then reuse that. But like the pots and pans, I try and almost use them as like a one-time use, and then store them, take them home and wash them and be ready to go for the next time. So all right, we get a lot going on here. I have a rinse kit that works well. I've seen those rinse kits. They're really cool. I think Cindy Pope, somebody was selling one of those locally or semi-locally recently, and I thought about buying it. I just like the idea of being able to like pump it up and having it right there and be easy to use. Same idea as the water port. Ripper says Rotopacks for water for all the things. We use our wash buckets to hold water and bam. Yeah, I have one of those foldable, like collapsible wash basins. And I love it. It fits in one of my drawers in my drawer system, but you pop it out, fold it out, and then I've got this wash basin. I use my 7-gallon water jug, fill it up, wash my dishes, put some soap in it, wash my dishes, hang them up. I got one of those lines. I hang it across my awning and hang all the dishes via carabiners on that, let them dry, and then I'm good to go. But again, I don't like wash them. I get them as clean as I possibly can, and I use soap, right? But like, it's still kind of meh. Again, streams are always good. Yeah, if you can get near them. Here in Indiana, that's kind of hard to find, especially it's been pretty dry this summer. St. Louis Arch says, I bathed in rivers just below the Continental Divide. Water maybe 40 degrees. Invigorating. That's one way to put it. Freezing. Frigid would be other ways to put that. Kurt says, cast iron or bust. Yeah, I've got a cast iron pot. I honestly, I'm telling you, my new griddle, super cheap little crappy Coleman griddle that fits on the 2-burner. It solved so many problems and so easy to use. But the cast iron is great too. I always forget it. Like it's so heavy and big. I don't like keep it in the truck. And the griddle fits in one of my drawers on top of the wash basin. They like sit flat. So I always have that. Ripper says we are kind of tools. We have multiple stoves and pot and pans setups. Yeah, that's cool. Dylan says, what is your daily driver? You're not talking to me, are you? Who are you talking to, Dylan? All right, I'm giving you a second. I meant for the shower, just use that bucket for the pickup end. Yeah, that works. I'm waiting for Dylan to reply on whose daily driver he's asking about. Well, while we're waiting for him to say that, though, let me do the normal wrap-up thing here, right? Like I'll do the normal stuff for people that haven't listened to this before. Again, thanks for watching. If you are a new person that did not come for the live stream and you're watching this later and you made it to now, congratulations. That's very impressive. If you don't already, though, go follow me on YouTube right here. Click subscribe. Facebook, Instagram, all the major podcast channels. Search for All Things Overlanding. And if it's easier, you can just go to allthingsoverlanding.com, which is my website. And on there are links to everything, too. And there's also a thing for merchandise/store where you can buy those patches and those stickers that we talked about. It's pretty cool. The experimental IPA is good. I love it. Dylan is now cursing and yelling at me to say don't end it. My daily. Here, I'll show you a picture of my daily. Let me go find it. So I am a Nissan guy. You thought it was good but not amazing. Yeah, it's not like life-changing by any means. Like I bought the 12-pack to try it, and I was like, it's pretty good. It's all right. It's not life-changing, though, by any means. Where is my daily driver? Let me go find it. I will show you pictures of my daily. Actually, there may be a better way. Hold on. So my daily is, so as you guys know, I'm a Nissan person, right? So I love all the things Nissan or Infiniti. So my Nissan truck is a big behemoth, tires rub and things clank and clunk, and I've got junk all over the inside of it and a drawer system and all that stuff. So on the car side, I wanted to do something different. I wanted something that was semi-sporty, but also kind of luxurious. Had, like some comfort, some like features to it. You guys are killing. We normally go an hour. We're at an hour and 10 minutes now. I'm going to be too drunk to carry on here momentarily. Hold on. Even though I've only had one beer in the last hour, I had 3 before we started. So, all right. So that's the Infiniti. So that's my daily right now. It's a 2014 Infiniti Q50. Oh, it went right behind the orange thing, didn't it? Sport. So it has the paddle shifters and all that stuff. It's got 14 speakers, Bose audio, automatic heated leather seats, paddle shifters, all that stuff. So that's the daily. That's what Dylan keeps telling me to sell. He wants me to get rid of this so I can do more overlanding stuff. But like I started, before I was into overlanding, I was a sports car guy. I had a 350Z for like 4 years that I loved. I had a Sentra SER Spec V before that, so Nissan. After that, I had an 04 Infiniti G35X, so the all-wheel drive one. It had a rear mount turbo on it, so it was about 300 all-wheel horsepower to the ground, which was pretty nice. And that car was a lot of fun. Then I had a 72 Datsun 240Z for a minute, for like 6 months. Um, you guys are killing me. For about 6 months, and then we found out that we were pregnant with my first kid, and I had a Jeep at the time. I had a lifted Jeep Cherokee, and I had the 240Z, and I was like, this is perfect. I have a sports car for when it gets nice, and it's unique, and it's fun. This is the Datsun here. That's why I pulled this up too. So this was the Datsun, the 240. So it had a Chevy small block in it, had a Chevy 305 in it, and that thing was fun. It was a manual 5-speed, and it was awesome. But so I had that for like 6 months, bought it from a kid in New Jersey, drove all the way out there in one day, picked it up 8 o'clock in the morning when we got there. Like we drove all night until 8 o'clock the next morning. I drove it down his street once and back, and I said, yep, I'll take it. And I bought it and put it on the trailer, and we drove all the way home. So Jersey and back in like 24 hours. So it was fun. All right, Matt, I'll sell you my daily. We've talked about it. I got to fix a couple things for you, but then you can have it. But so yeah, the Infinity is really nice. Like I like the car, and it's fairly modified now. It's on lowering springs, so it's the opposite, right? The Xterra is lifted and just functional, and like I don't care about anything. But then the Infinity has the blacked out grille. I vinyl wrapped yellow the fog lights. I added the lip. It's lowered. It's got spacers so that it pushes the wheels out so that they sit flush. Tint all around, it's got all those things. It's got a spoiler on the back and then a lip spoiler up on the roof. So like I've got like my luxury JDM car and then my Xterra. So I like them both, but I do just feel like it's so much money for the Infinity, and like I could have a lot more like fun stuff for the truck, and the truck can go all year round, right? Like the truck is still fun to drive in the summer. So, all right, why you got to end it so soon? You act like you have something better to do. You guys are hurting my feelings now. Kurt says, keep the daily. I miss my Mustang. Matt says, I'll buy your daily. Yep, let's talk about it. Seriously, if you want it, Matt, like we can talk about it. I'll just sell it for what I owe on it. Rupert says, keep the daily, allows you to keep the X packed up, ready to go. See, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Like it's really nice to, like we went to my folks this last weekend for July 4th, and we just stayed far away from them. Like we all sat outside on their breezeway and hung out, but did our social distancing stuff. And like we took my car. And the Xterra is a different beast, right? Like, it's just not quite as comfortable. I removed one of the rear seats from it, so, like, the kids are both smashed together in the back. It's a different thing, but the car is nice in the winter. It's all-wheel drive, too, so, like, I could drive it in the winter. I don't, because I like driving the Xterra in the snow. But it gives me options, right? Sorry you had to go to New Jersey. It wasn't that bad. New Jersey was kind of pretty, actually. The part we went to was, like, a really ritzy neighborhood, like, trees everywhere. I was shocked at how nice it was, actually. How many miles does your daily have? So I just went over 60,000. It's a 14. I barely drive it. I've had it for like a year and a half, and I've put like 6,000 miles on it because I have the Xterra, and like we also have a 2-car garage, and my wife has a 2018 Pilot. So like it's Pilot, Xterra, and then in the garage stays the car. So I have to like move my truck to get the car out to drive it. So most of the days I'm just like, I'll just take the Xterra. I mean, it starts up every time. It's so reliable. So Dylan says, wow, that's nice. Thanks, man. Kurt says, what does the wife drive? Oh, I just told you. 2018 Honda Pilot. That thing is boring as shit. Sorry. But it is. It's a perfectly fine car. Honda makes great cars. They're super reliable, but it is so boring. It has a CVT. It has like a teeny tiny anemic 2.7 liter 6. It's just boring. And we keep it on eco mode all the time because why? Like it's not like it has any guts anyways. Ripper says, buy a cheap Econo box and turn the profit into the XC. But that's my thing is, like, I could have bought a cheap Econo box, but, like, my thing is, what's the point? Like, I could just drive the X every day. Like, I enjoy driving the Xterra. So if it's not going to be something that's, like, really nice or has, like, some nice features or is semi-luxurious or semi-fast, like, then it's just, I'd rather just drive the Xterra all the time and, like, buy a trailer, right? Or, like, buy a really nice rooftop tent or a fridge freezer. Like I could totally kit out the Xterra and have money left over if I could sell the Infinity. So yeah, Dylan says he has the Civic still. Yeah, so I mean I don't have any problems with it. I'm kind of like with how reliable the Xterra is, and especially with COVID now, like I don't drive anywhere. It's like I maybe put a couple 100 miles a month on a vehicle. So I could have one truck and be fine. Don't sell the daily. I want the truck and the sports car. If you lose that, you'll hate it. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, again, if I sold it, my goal would be to get like an older Datsun or like some sort of a cool Nissan car from days of old. That is cheaper, right? Like it's the only thing that I regret about it is just that it's a pretty expensive car. So I bought it a year and a half ago. It's a 2014 Sport, which the Sport holds its value pretty well, but still, like it was like a $47,000 car, and I bought it for about 22 grand like a year and a half ago. And I pay ahead on it, so like I don't owe that much on it now, but it's still like 20 grand, right? Like my truck was 7. So my truck with all the modifications and stuff is still probably less than half of what I spent on the car, and I drive the truck most of the time because it's super reliable and it just goes everywhere, and it's great in the winter and everything. So it's kind of like, it just irks me a little bit sometimes to think that I literally spent twice as much and I still have payments on the car, which I barely drive, and the X is fine. Like I kind of bought it thinking the Xterra would die, and it just keeps going, man. It's been like a year and a half since I bought it, and it's never not started on me once. So cool. All right, well, we're at like 10:15, guys. It's late. We got to go. Kurt says, life's short, drive fast, more smiles per gallon is all that matters. Exactly. That is my mantra for life. Like, that's why even when I can take a one-day trip here and there, I'm going to do it because, it's like, you never know. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? Like, especially this COVID stuff, like, it's crazy. We've had friends that have been, really seriously affected by it, and it's just like, I literally have no idea if I would survive it. I hope so, but, like, I'm just going to have as much fun as I can. I'm going to keep drinking my beer until it's too late. Dylan, I gotta end it, man. I got stuff to do. My first X went to 230,000 miles. Yeah, I mean, they're impressive. I'm only at 136,000 right now. Mine's an 05. So it's almost 16 years old. Has so less than 10,000 miles a year on it. I bought it with 94,000 4 years ago, and I put about 40,000 miles on it in the last a year, basically. You bought it at 65. That's sweet. Time for a diesel. Yeah. There's some folks that have done diesel swaps. I would like to do a VK56 swap, but it doesn't make sense. Like from a monetary standpoint, to me, like I could almost for the same amount of money well, I won't say that. It's not quite true, but like I could probably buy like a mid 2000s to late 2000s Armada or QX80 and just buy a bunch of stuff for that and have a really rad, weird truck that nobody else has ever really modified for reasons, I'm sure. But have something super unique. So anyways, love the exhaust sound on a G35. Yeah, I have axle back on the Q50, which is a 3.7 liter, so the same as the 370Z. And man, that axle back it sounds good. Like it's not too loud, it's not droney, but it just sounds good. So Titan swap. Yeah, I mean, the Titan swap is fine too, but again, I'm like, what does it cost? $3 to $5 grand probably. And I'm like, my truck is still, so first of all, my truck is perfectly capable as is. Like I'd rather do lockers because I don't necessarily need to fit bigger tires or do like the 33 MTs on a 2.5-inch lift has gotten me everywhere I want to go. And I've got armor all along the bottom. So if I scrape a little bit, okay. I've got sliders. Okay. Like I just don't feel like it's worth it for that. Current X is at 100,000. I bought it in 17 with 52,000 miles. Nice. So yeah, you put some miles on some vehicles, don't you? Join the full-size crew. See, I'm torn because the X is so nimble and like small, and like I have a lot of advantages over the full-size guys. Like whenever we go out, I'm like, oh, that extra room in that Sequoia would be really nice. And then we hit an obstacle and I'm just like, and I go right up it and they're like rubbing on everything and scraping and bouncing around. And I'm like, and you can just see all that weight, right? Like just shifting back and forth. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I want to deal with that. You just said you have armor all on the bottom. I do. The whole bottom of the Xterra is armored up. 3/16 inch steel, mixed stuff. The cleaning stuff. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Not armor all the cleaner. I didn't clean the bottom of the truck. The truck is right now covered in mud outside for my last trip like 3 weeks ago. I don't clean the Xterra hardly ever. No, armor. I have armor all over the bottom of the truck. 3/16 inch steel armor all over the bottom of the truck. There's a pause there. All right. Well, you guys are hilarious and you're cracking me up, but I'm going to go because it's 10:18. Most of the Titan swap don't need it. I know, right? Like, here's the thing, and this is my final thought, and then we're going to end it. The final thought is that the Pioneer Overland video smashing the hell out of taillights. Are you talking about Overland Pioneer does he have one where he's smashing taillights? Or are you talking about Arkansas Off-Road? Because he had a video where it's just people just destroying brand new Forerunners and ZR2 Colorados and things like that. And I gritted my teeth the whole way through. Use the skid sliders and lockers. That's why they're there. But yeah, they, what was I going to say? Oh, the Titan swap idea. Love the idea of a Titan swap. Love the idea of a VK swap. But I mean, you're talking about those two combined are more than I have total in my truck right now. So that's why I don't understand it. Is like, it has 136,000 miles. It's an '05. It runs fine. There's not a problem with the engine. The suspension has all been replaced in the last 2 years anyways, basically. I need to do my leaf packs in the rear. And then I'm basically all new all the way around. So like, I just don't, for me, it doesn't make sense to do all that. What I would do, if I was going to do something, I would rather sell the Xterra or wait for it to die. And then when it dies, find somebody that's already done all that stuff and buy the same truck for like 7 or 8 grand. Right? Like, I could probably literally buy my Xterra with a VK swap and a Titan swap for like 10 or 12 grand. Right? I mean, realistically, right now. So, like, that's the thing, is they depreciate so fast, right? So it would literally be just for yourself that you would do those swaps. And again, I have never had any problems getting anywhere I needed to go in my truck. And, you know, like, okay, let's say this. If I, like, somehow, right, like Nissan came up to me and they said, we'll give you 100 grand a year to just like do your overlanding channel and talk nonstop about Nissan. Okay. Then if I'm traveling like 9 months out of the year and doing overlanding stuff, then it would make sense. Then it might make sense. But for me to like go, you know, like to go to Hoosier National Forest a few times a quarter, you know, like I don't need it, you know? So I would rather spend that money on a trailer, right? Like I'd rather have a trailer and a fridge freezer and like a really nice professional DIY, or not DIY, a really nice actual rooftop tent that's not DIY. So yeah, I think that's what I would do. Like it would just be about allocation of stuff, right? That's what I would focus on. So don't VK swap. All right, let me read these comments. Okay, nope, you're cool, Kurt. I was just thinking, I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen, Jeremiah's videos are all beautiful and like nice and calm. And like that Arkansas Off-Road one was vicious. Go get another beer and let's keep this going. No, I have to go. I worked all day. You guys are hilarious. All kinds of, what are you come on, if you stay on, I'll throw together an Overland related swag bag for you. So what do you do, Ripper? You have a bunch of Gone Moab stuff, Gone Overland patches, stickers. I've seen that too on the VK swaps. There's a guy that I've met before, Austin Schmidt, who VK swapped his Xterra. He was one of the guys that was on that Manistee trip a few years ago that I mentioned, and then his Xterra was still stock engine-wise. He did a VK swap, and I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I constantly see stuff like it's overheating or won't start or like weird stuff. So I'm with you. I think unless you like bought all the right kits and like paid somebody to do the work really, really well in custom, which would be tons and tons of money, it's just not worth it. Dylan says, I think that I will talk to Nissan for you. Okay, well, if you have connections, please let them know that I love their products, and anything they're willing to give me, I'll take. Please do another live last week. All right, see, Kurt is even going. We got to go. All right, Fletch, have a good night, gang. Been great as always. Yep, good to see you, Kurt. Have a good weekend. We can continue on the Facebook page. That's true. You're in paramedic school. Cool. Well, yeah, go over to the Facebook page if you guys want to keep chatting and post up there, and we can all keep chatting. But I'm going to turn off the video because you guys have to be tired of looking at my face now. Plus, this stream is going to go up as a video that people will watch down the road, and they're going to be like, what the hell is an hour-and-a-half video for? But anyways, thank you guys. This was a lot of fun. We'll see about getting back to weekly. For a minute, we might stay at bi-weekly because it does buy me some time, and I am working just a ton. I think I worked I got up at like 7 this morning, and I worked until like 6. So, you ran Gone Overland at Gone Moab and have done some writing for Outdoor X4. That's cool, man. You don't have Facebook, Dylan? That's all right. You have Instagram? Chat on Instagram. I don't like Facebook. If it wasn't for you guys, if it wasn't for the channel, like I wouldn't have Facebook. I'd get rid of it in a heartbeat. But that's cool, Ripper. Do you follow on Facebook and Instagram? If not, go over there and do it, because we chat a lot on Facebook. Teach first aid for overlanding at events. That's cool. That's super cool. I know nothing about first aid. I mean, I know a little bit about first aid, but like I'm not at all trained. So I just try and avoid injury, but obviously sometimes that's not possible. So I would love to. I'm going to core this year, and then I'm going to more next year. So I'm going to try and hit up some of those classes because they're pretty cool. You don't have Instagram either? Yeah, Instagram is better. All right, well, email me at allthingsoverlanding@gmail.com then, Dylan, if you want to talk. We can do it that way. Cool. All right, I'm starting to freeze. Weird. I'm losing bandwidth. I get that you don't have Instagram. That's okay. If you want to chat, if you want to have social channels to be social, you have to have social channels. But if you don't, that's okay too. If you want to email me at allthingsoverlanding@gmail.com, I will chat with you via email. All right? So thank you guys. It's been fun. I appreciate you guys coming and spending so much time with me. And I will update you. I think the next one will probably be 2 weeks from now, just because I don't even know what the heck I've got to put together. But I'll think about it this weekend while I'm camping. I'll come up with some ideas. But thanks again, everybody, for stopping by and hanging out. Again, if you're watching this after the fact and you made it this far, I'm super impressed. But make sure you follow on Facebook, Instagram, podcast channels, wherever you want. And thanks, you guys, for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time. And look for the video.